for his first-person account of his capture and escape from the Taliban. The Bob Considine Award for Best Newspaper or News Service Interpretation of International Affairs, sponsored by Wallach Associates, has been won by Washington Post team Rajiv Chandrasekaran, Karen DeYoung, and Bob Woodward for their definitive reporting explaining the evolving U.S. strategy in Afghanistan. Accepting the award are Post correspondents Rajiv and Karen.
Thank you very much. I want to talk very briefly about the state of journalism, and then I'll let my friend Rajiv talk a little bit about Afghanistan. It's kind of a cliche for all of us, I think, that these are bad times for journalism. We've all seen the effects of dwindling advertising and dwindling resources. We've all seen a lot of our colleagues leave the business, some voluntarily, some not voluntarily. It has become, certainly for people working overseas, a lot more dangerous than it used to be when I and many of you started out in this business. But I think it is also some of the best of times. Certainly there are plenty of stories to do, as we see with all the great winners tonight, and we see in our own organizations every day. We were fortunate enough, and I thank my colleague Bob Woodward, who couldn't be here tonight, who helped us enormously in this endeavor. We were fortunate enough to be able to work for an organization that allowed us to spend the time and the resources to report not only in this country but also overseas when we needed to look at the policies of the new administration in Afghanistan. And that's a story, obviously, that's not finished yet. So I think that there's plenty for all of us to do in the coming year. I want to thank the Overseas Press Club for this honor. I thank the Washington Post for figuring out a way to let us all continue to do our jobs and hopefully to try and do it well. Thank you.
You don't need long speeches from multiple award winners. I just second Karen's thanks to the OPC and the editors of the Washington Post. The editors of the Post were very gracious with me and allowed me to try to pioneer a new form of correspondence with regard to the war in Afghanistan, allowed me to split my time between Washington, D.C. and the field to be able to go and spend time down on the ground in Afghanistan, as well as walking the corridors of power in D.C. A lot of my reporting in Afghanistan over the past year and stories that were part of the OPC's mission would not have been possible without the cooperation of a lot of very brave young men and women serving with the U.S. Marine Corps in Helmand Province in Afghanistan. More than 80 of them have died in the line of duty over the past year. And as we earlier this evening took note of the great number of our colleagues who have passed away in the line of duty as they covered stories around the world this past year, so too have many men and women with the U.S. military. And one individual sticks in my mind because he was both. Sergeant Bill Kerr from Washington, D.C., was a journalist, was a congressional staffer, and then after 9/11 decided to join the Marine Corps. He was a civil affairs soldier in Helmand Province in Nawa District, where I visited repeatedly this year. And he and his men, their cooperation and their assistance was invaluable in helping me understand what was actually occurring down there in the sands of Afghanistan, and helping me to convey that to the audience of the Washington Post over this past year. And so I accept this award with great humility, but also with the understanding that a great number of our fellow countrymen have given their lives, both as journalists and as members of the military, over this past year. And want to note the great sacrifices that people in both lines of work have made for all of us to be able to help to convey to people back home what's happening in